Again, just some of the stuff is just senseless. It's just absolutely senseless. There's no cause for some of these things. And too often, as I pointed out, people's individual poor decisions end up with lives being lost. It happens far too often. And we need people to make better choices. And we need the adults in the lives of young people to do their job. To do their job, right? Again, if you have a weapon in the city of Milwaukee, you can go to any of these neighborhood centers that we have, get a gun lock, get it for free, with no questions asked. Secure your weapon in your home and make sure your young person doesn't get a hold of it. You have a responsibility to do that. That'll take a couple questions.
Dr. Cassellius, can I just ask you, in the past we've spoken about this very issue and how it affects not just this immediate family, but other children that know this boy, and the ability to educate all the other kids because of this trauma. Can you speak to that?
Well, our hearts go out to the family immediately that is impacted. But of course, this impacts all of the friends, the friend groups, the school. We have our crisis team out there today meeting with our school community and trying to do intervention and then preventing any kind of further atrocities that can happen with any new education, with our parent coordinators, our social workers, our counselors. So we're going to continue to do all that we can, but again, we need our families to really step up here and help us out.
Can I touch on that as well? I'm sorry, because you bring up a good point, Nick, because there's a ripple effect that happens. I think many times when folks have a gun, and I know this was not necessarily the case, but they have a gun, they have a beef with somebody, apparently people can't fight anymore, right? So they decide to take out a gun, you have to end somebody, you have to end their life, which I think is just the stupidest thing. But too often, when people go and they have a beef and they go and shoot somebody, they think that they just have impacted that person, or at least that's what I'm thinking they're thinking. But that's not the case. The fact of the matter is that when you shoot somebody, when you kill somebody, right, that's like throwing a stone into a pond. There's a ripple effect that happens. The person you killed, their mom is affected by that. Their dad is affected by that. Their siblings are affected by that. Their school community is affected by that. Their grandparents are affected by that. Their neighborhoods are affected by that. And our entire community, our entire city is affected by that loss of life. So folks got to understand the consequences, all the consequences of your actions, right? It's not just the person that you kill or you hurt. It's everybody else that you're impacting. And I often remind folks to think about how you would feel if somebody committed an act of violence that you're looking to inflict on somebody else. How would you feel if somebody did that to somebody you care about, right? Even if they did it to you, how would your mom feel, right, if you were gone? We don't need to see that happening in Milwaukee. Folks should be conscious of that. David?
On the pursuits, have you challenged MPD at all to come up with a way to catch these reckless drivers that does not involve putting other citizens in danger?
You know, look, I know the police department, each and every single day when they go out and make these decisions, these are very challenging decisions, right? It's the job of our police department to pull dangerous individuals off the street, criminals off the street, folks who are driving recklessly because they could endanger themselves or they could endanger other people. They make conscious decisions each and every single day. Many times they don't pursue. Many times they terminate pursuits before they get to the point where they're dangerous. I understand the question. I understand we've had some very tragic situations involving pursuits in the city recently. So it's a struggle every single day, and there's a balance. Because I can tell you, if I go to any neighborhood across Milwaukee, if somebody's driving dangerously, the people who live in that neighborhood, they want the police to do their job. They want the police to take folks driving recklessly off the streets because they could end up hurting themselves, destroying somebody else's property, or killing somebody that they care about. So it's a delicate balance. The police know that. I'm watching out for that as well. I'm sorry, say it again?
Do you think there should be stricter protocols when it comes to police chases? Like if they have a felony, when to go after?
Yeah.
Stopping a suburb or something like that?
Yeah, so there's some work that we've done on that in the past. I'll tell you this though: when you look at reckless driving in Milwaukee, right, and where we are versus where we were, right, when the police pulled back on their pursuit policy in the city of Milwaukee, that's what caused an explosion of reckless driving in the first place. I believe that was a major contributing factor to that, because knuckleheads out there, they thought, oh, the police aren't going to chase me. I can do whatever I want to on the street. That was a city of Milwaukee policy, but that didn't affect any of the surrounding jurisdictions. And so folks would go into, just pick on a suburb here, Greenfield. They go into Greenfield thinking that there was no pursuits, and then those pursuits would go on from Greenfield into the city of Milwaukee, right? So I think that we addressed that in the past. What happened was that it caused an explosion of reckless driving to occur in the city of Milwaukee. I don't want to see that happen again. I don't want to see more people think that they can go out there, drive without consequence, including recklessly, and endanger not just themselves but the greater public safety. That's wrong.
And just, I just want to just piggyback off of what Mayor Johnson said earlier to your question, Steve. There's still the impoundment bill that is still sitting in the state Senate that was passed in the Judiciary Committee chair, and it still have not taken the floor in the Senate. That will help aid the police department to make arrests for those that are driving reckless. It's passed the Assembly and need to get to the Senate. So, you know, I think to answer your question, hopefully fully, and yours as well, is that, you know, there are some parameters that we ask and we put in place to help go after those bad actors that are recklessly driving and recklessly harming our districts and our city. And it's just now it's up for our friends and our colleagues up in Madison to actually sign this thing into law and pass it to governor's pass it and then send it to Governor Evers and have it signed into law.
We can do one more question.
Mayor, looking back at our previous reporting for 2025, just a quick count, we counted 9 people who were killed in crashes related to police chases. 6 of those people were the innocent party. What do you think of those?
I think these crashes occur because individuals are making the decision. This has sort of been a theme of this press conference today. Folks are making very poor decisions behind the wheel of the vehicle, right? Folks are making the decision to not obey the police command to stop, right? They're already out there driving recklessly. They're already putting themselves in a dangerous situation. They're already putting the greater community in a dangerous situation. I think the people in Milwaukee want the police to do their job and take people who cause death, harm, destruction, including driving recklessly, off the streets of our city. I think that's what is happening.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.